was that I think Bob intended to do to me what he'd done to Diane, which was when she sued him, he hit her with a big, law firms and the army and the battalion of lawyers and everything, and and then gave her a big check, and she backed off. But I never backed off, and I don't expected that. So here we are. The years are going by, and we are getting closer and closer to a public trial.
Right.
And after they take the depositions from all the people that worked on the show, who knew, of course, that Barker sued me because they had either overheard the conversation when he fired me, because the dressing room walls are, like paper, or they watched, at rehearsal when I'm cut out of 90% of the show, and when I am on, I'm only shown from the neck up, And,
wow.
I mean, everybody knew Barker had fired me because of my weight. In fact, the director announced it at rehearsal one day. How embarrassing was that? Thank you.
And
we
didn't
are going to shoot the show differently. It seems Mr. Barker wants to help Holly lose weight.
Wow.
So everybody knew. So they're all called to testify. They testified to what they knew.
Right.
And as a result, Barker, with his whole lying, weight was never mentioned. He was crucified. He lost, and he was, what is it? He had to pay all my legal fees and everything. But then he turned around and he fired all those people whose testimony in his lawsuit against me caused him to lose it. His lawsuit, he fired them. How horrible is that?
And this would include Janice Pennington, who had been on the show at that point for almost 30 years, and Kathleen Bradley.
Well, she'd been on the show as long as Barker.
That was stunning. Yeah, I remember. I think I was in college when you were let go, and I remember all the Diane stuff. And then I thought, and now Holly's gone a year later. What is going on with that? And then
Kathleen,
when Janice was let go, who actually had gone out in the press and defended Barker against Diane, I thought that she was really kind of like Barker's Gal Friday, I thought that was permanent.
You know what, Chris? You have to understand the man you're dealing with. You could be the most loyal, supportive, which Janice was. Loyal, supportive, up to the moment that you testified truthfully that yes, everyone knew Holly could not come back because Barker of her weight or whatever she testified to, and that was it. It didn't matter how many network TV shows or talk shows or interviews you'd given in support of Barker.
Wow.
In that moment, her time on The Price is Right was over.
Wow. And it's such a, talk about a soap opera, The Price is Right. And now
yes, really. Oh yeah.
And now all these years later, again, almost 10 years since Janice and Kathleen were fired, Bob Barker comes out with his memoirs, Priceless Memories. And have you read his book, by the way?
Oh, God, no.
Could that be because you're not in it at all?
Am I not in it?
You're not in it. Janice, Diane, Kathleen, I mean, none of you are ever mentioned once.
Well, that's absolutely not surprising if you know Barker. No.
Well, it was a little, I guess I was a little surprised because I figured he would use the book as a chance to get his side out. But on the other hand, a couple of years ago, the official Price is Right book, Come On Down, written by co-producer Stan Blitz, that book was published.
Excuse me. Dictated by Bob Barker, two co-producers, Dan Flint, the official. Barker is notorious for rewriting history.
Well, because you and Dian and Kathleen weren't mentioned at all in that book, and Janice and Anitra Ford, the other original model whom you replaced, they were mentioned just briefly, but you were...
And by the way, Chris, congratulations to you. I read your Radar article. Congratulations to you for culling through and finding two people who had worked with Bob Barker. Of course, it was 20 years earlier, who would say something nice about him. Because those of us who worked with him had nothing nice to say about him.
Well,
but you managed to find Anitra and who was it, Andy Selig or somebody?
Yeah,
to say something nice about him. That had to be hard.
Well,